A very good evening. You're watching Sri Lanka's most trusted news station, and that is News First. We're coming to you live and direct from the News First studios here in Colombo with prime time news. A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo. We have a comprehensive report of the stories that are making headlines from here at home and also in the world of sports. But first, let's take a look at the headlines for tonight.
Prime Minister presents facts to Parliament on the statement made by Vijayakala Maheswaran. Cabinet approves to obtain a loan of 100 billion yen from a Japanese bank for the third phase of the Central Expressway. Sri Lankan Airlines says it will settle dues to Petroleum Corporation through a commercial loan. Court of Appeal issues interim injunction preventing legal action being taken against Gotabaya Rajapaksa over a bribery case. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa comments on the New York Times article.
And now for those stories in detail. Views were expressed in Parliament today over the statement made by State Minister Vijayakala Maheswaran recently.
I took action to inquire the statement which was made by State Minister Vijayakala Maheswaran. The very morning I was informed about it. In addition, I have taken measures to obtain the cassette on that statement and analyze that translation. I will take every measure possible on this. I have also sought the advice of the Attorney General after informing the leadership of the party she represents. While this process was underway, two MPs acted in an unruly manner which brought disrepute to the good name of Parliament. This is a disgrace to Parliament.
I wish to announce the stance of the government and the United National Party, which is, we will always protect the unity of this country. The LTTE has been banned. There is no reason to recreate the banned LTTE organization. We will act on this basis. It is within this frame that we will be protecting the unity of this country while protecting Buddhism, and will be solving the issue on fundamental rights via a political solution. We will also be solving the issue on the devolution of power. Both you and I discussed this matter. The moment I was informed about the statement made by Minister Maheswaran, I inquired about it. The political committee met yesterday. State Minister Vijayakala Maheswaran had taken ill yesterday. I informed her that I need to meet her when she returns to Colombo. We have also taken decisions on the measures and investigations that should be done with regard to her. We will take those measures once we meet. Who is doing this? If you can make Karuna, who killed 600 police officers, as the deputy chairman, and if you can win a presidential election by giving money to Prabhakaran, and if you can imprison the army commander who defeated the LTTE, how can you come here and speak like this? This is what I question from you. If you are yelling out on this, let us all approve the letter that Minister Sarath Fonseca has given to you on political revenge. Why was he imprisoned? We are aware. You yelled out yesterday to stop the comments on the New York Times article. This is what happened.
MPs Vimal Veeravansa and Prasanna Ranavira and several others spoke in a very degrading and disrespectful manner to the Speaker in Parliament, and even acted in a threatening and unruly manner which prompted to postpone parliamentary sittings to the next day. I request you to direct this to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges and take immediate action over the breach of ethics.
I request that a proposal be made to be put forward to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges.
Former Secretary of Defence Gotabaya Rajapaksa was seen attending an event of the Podujana Peramuna today. The event was held at the party office located down Nelum Mawatha in Battaramulla to provide the party membership to its provincial council and local government representatives. The event was graced by Mahinda Rajapaksa and saw the participation of Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa as well.
Other countries are being used to sling mud, let alone using those in Sri Lanka. I do not mind if people overseas sling mud at us. Some ask me why I am not taking legal action. I responded by saying, do I have US voting rights? Am I contesting from the US? Trump is sufficient for that. I will not be speaking on that. We have handed over the matter to the attorneys for it being unnecessarily mentioned in Sri Lanka and the facts being distorted. We will be looking at legal avenues on this. It is not to suppress the media, but to correct it. The state institutions should have been aware of this. I will not be commenting on the private institutions. I don't mind of what private institutions have to say even when slinging mud. However, the state institutions that are paid by the government and depend on the taxpayers' money have no right to use this unnecessarily and sling mud. The New York Times reported $7.6 million was given for the former presidential election campaign during the run-up to the presidential polls. I wish to know if the government will be appointing a commission to investigate this, just as it appointed the Bond Commission. Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka filed a complaint with the police. The police handed this over to the CID for investigations. It will be investigated and the necessary measures will be taken. The editor of the New York Times says journalists have been intimidated. This is not a good thing. Eknaligoda was killed. Lasantha Vikramatunga was killed. Keith Noyer was assaulted. Upali Tennakon was beaten. The situation is such that you did that while in government and now you are saying you will attack the New York Times. That is wrong. If you are speaking of democracy, please withdraw the threat that was made. Some asked, will legal action be taken against Sirasa? I said no. They asked why. I said it is a private institution. Only around 3% watch it. That is not an issue for us.
President's counsel Gamini Marapana informed the Court of Appeal today that an application for bail will not be made at the Fort Magistrates Court tomorrow to secure bail for the beneficial owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Arjun Aloysius, who was arrested over the central bank treasury bonds scam. This was mentioned when the revision bail application filed on behalf of Arjun Aloysius and Kasum Palisena was taken up.
The revision bail application was taken up in the presence of President of the Court of Appeal, Justice P. Padman Surasena and Justice Shiran Gunaratna. A question was raised whether a bail application will be made on behalf of Arjun Aloysius at the Fort Magistrates Court tomorrow. President's counsel Gamini Marapana said an application for bail will not be made on behalf of Arjun Aloysius tomorrow. The case was postponed to the 18th for the defence to present facts. Deputy Solicitor General Yasantha Kodagoda, appearing for the Attorney General, made a lengthy submission to court over the matter. He informed the Court of Appeal that Perpetual Treasuries Limited had generated assets in an illegal manner from the 2 treasury bond auctions, which resulted in an 8.5 billion rupee loss to 5 state institutions. He added 5 civil cases have been filed to recover the losses from PTL. Yasantha Kodagoda notes 5 cases have been filed at the Colombo District Court on behalf of the 5 institutions, including the Bank of Ceylon, the Employees Provident Fund and Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation.
Cabinet approval has been granted for the country to obtain a loan from a Japanese bank for the 3rd phase of the Central Expressway.
A
proposal submitted by the Honourable Prime Minister in his capacity as the Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs to enter an agreement with a Japanese bank for funding of 100 billion yen has been approved for the construction of a 32.5 kilometre section from Potuhara to Galagedara of the Central Expressway. This expressway will expand the expressway network in the country and will connect the south to the central region of the country.
Good evening to you. Our country is probably the only country in the world where we have ministers who are proud to come before the media and say, look, we've obtained a loan to construct a highway. What is this loan that they are obtaining from Japan? What is the value? What is the cost breakdown? Let me show you. This is the cabinet memorandum that was put forward by the Ministry of National Policies and Economic Affairs before the cabinet of ministers to obtain the approval to gain this loan from a Japanese company, Japanese bank rather. The document is signed by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, of course, as mentioned by Minister Gayantha Karunatilaka. What is the cost breakdown? Let me show you. This is the value of the loan, 100 billion yen, which converts into 143.54 billion rupees. In millions, that value is 143,540 million. Now, why I'm showing you this in millions is that we are going to show you how much is reduced or deducted from this value, and the final sum is made. The insurance money is deducted, that is 14,450 million rupees. The agreement fee is 1,164 million rupees. Agreement fee 2, 3,717 million rupees. Agent fee 71 million rupees. Consultancy fee 43 million rupees. Legal fee 32 million rupees. And other fees 4 million rupees. These are the monies that are going out from this value, the 100 billion yen that we are obtaining. What is the final remainder? 124,059,000. This is the value that we are left with. Effective loan percentage, that is the percentage of the loan that is, as the word goes, effective, is only 86.43 rupees. Now, I showed you earlier the cabinet paper that was put forward before the cabinet of ministers to obtain this loan. Now, who is responsible for granting loans of this nature? Who is responsible for telling the people, look, we are obtaining a loan from a Japanese bank and you are going to be in debt thereafter? It is the cabinet of ministers. Every cabinet minister seated when approvals are granted for loans like this are responsible for making the people of this country, putting them in debt. Now, they will probably get into their luxury vehicles, get off, go on to sunset in a beautiful country, probably a beautiful country that is not here. But you and I, sitting at home and watching, will be in debt. All the cabinet ministers are responsible for this loan. Now, shifting gears from this loan, I'll take you through to our next story that we have in line. If you're doing the right thing and if you're penalized for it, how will you feel? Just have a look at this story and see what has happened to this individual.
The long-term agreement to obtain electricity from the private power plant in Amblipitia expired in 2015 and it was renewed for another 3 years following an agreement reached with the CEP. The Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy said, taking into account the weather situation over the past 2 years and first quarter of this year, there was a need to add a certain electricity capacity to the national grid. The CEB noted discussions were held to procure electricity from the private power plants in Mathura and Amblipitia as well as the Sapugaskanda power station on a short-term basis.
When a power plant is added to the national grid, it is done as per the provisions of Article 43 of the Sri Lanka Electricity Act. There are 2 reasons as to why the Amblipitia power plant will not come under this act. One is that it has not been obtained under the competitive pricing, and the other is when a license is obtained, there needs to be a certain stake held by the government via the Treasury Secretary. This power plant has not fulfilled both these requirements. Since there was no approval obtained from the Public Utilities Commission, I informed my Additional General Manager, Karyavasam, that I cannot release the funds. He said since the CEB had purchased the electricity, it is mandatory to make the payments. I said I cannot do so without the legal contract. I had around 700 million rupees and a dollar equivalent to 140 million rupees. I requested him to make the payments from his division. However, it was not done and I was interdicted.
Going from the energy sector to the petroleum sector of our country, the CPC had an issue recently with our national carrier, Sri Lankan Airlines. They said, look, if you don't give us the money that you owe us from 2008, we will not provide you fuel. And the CPC was acting very fast. The operative phrase is being acting very fast. They decided to go for a commercial loan from a private bank to pay off the remaining money that they owed to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. $87.5 million was the due payment that Sri Lankan Airlines had to pay to CPC. CPC came and said, look, if you have the money, give us 5 million rupees, 5 million US dollars, I beg your pardon. They said, give us some time. There too we have a problem. When you say, give us time to give you the money, it seems like they do not have even 5 million USD to make this payment to Sri Lankan Airlines, to the CPC, the money that they owe. But they've also said, the remaining 82 million USD, we will go in for a commercial loan from a private bank, and we are now seeking the approval of the Cabinet of Ministers to grant this approval to obtain this loan. Let's have a look at what is happening in terms of this.
ජාතික ගුවන් යානය විනාශ කරේ පෞගේ
The aviation service was destroyed in the past. An unqualified person who does not even have ordinary level qualifications was given the chairmanship of the airline, which led to its destruction. The people who came into power through the current government destroyed the rest during the initial period.
මුල් කාලේ
Citing that Sri Lankan Airlines needs to be revived, the former government appointed the brother-in-law of Mahinda Rajapaksa to the post of chairman of the airline. After the present government came into power, they too claimed the airline needs to be revived and appointed Suren Ratwatta to the post of CEO of the airline. He is the brother of Charita Ratwatta, who is a close associate and senior advisor to the Prime Minister. At present, Suren Ratwatta, who caused the airline to incur losses to the tune of billions, had demanded a compensation to the tune of millions to retire prematurely. At a time when the CEO, who failed to revive the airlines, was making demands for compensation to retire from service, a situation arose where the supply of fuel to the national carrier would be suspended. As per an agreement reached by the CPC with Sri Lankan, fuel worth 13 billion rupees is provided to the national carrier on a credit basis. However, as the limit exceeded, a warning was issued to the national carrier that the supply of fuel would be suspended from today. On the 2nd of this month, the matter was discussed between the officials from the Ministry of Petroleum Resources Development, CPC officials, as well as officials from the airline, including the chairman. At this discussion, the chairman of the airline had informed that a sum of 800 million rupees from the total due will be repaid within this week. In addition, cabinet approval will be sought to obtain the remainder as a loan from a private bank.
I was appointed as the fuel advisor for the Sri Lankan Airlines. I prepared a report and presented it. In that report, I made it clear we are incurring losses from jet fuel. We held discussions with the former CEO of the airline. I do not know what happened to that report afterwards. If there's an increase of $1 for a gallon of jet fuel, the airline will incur a loss of 540 million rupees. Even if a commercial loan is obtained to cover this amount, the airline will have to operate on the same manner, and if the same fuel formula is being used, the losses will continue. We will have to secure a loan in a few years once more. In plain, what they are saying is that the cycle will continue. They obtain loans to pay off their debts, and if they do not restructure, this cycle will continue. We mentioned that they are paying $5 million USD in the near future, and they have asked for time to pay that $5 million as well. Once again, reiterating, they might not even have the money to pay this $5 million USD to settle this outstanding value. For the 82 million remainder, they are going in for a private bank to ask for a loan. Now, once again, they are going to before the Cabinet of Ministers and asking for the approval of the Cabinet of Ministers. They obtain loans to pay off their debts, and at the end of the day, the treasury of this country, indirectly you and I, once again is responsible for settling off these debts. One could think now, are these tactics used to go into a private bank and obtain a loan? If you just take a look at the sums that are involved, I'll just take a few moments here. 82.5 million US dollars converted into Sri Lankan rupees at 160 rate is 13 billion Sri Lankan rupees. If you take 1% of a commission through this loan, the private bank, whoever is putting this together, that comes to about 132 million Sri Lankan rupees. Malpractices, fraud, corruption, things that we have heard all our life. This is why the President had to appoint the Presidential Commission to look into the allegations into Sri Lankan Airlines, Mihin Lanka and Sri Lankan Catering. What has happened there today? We have the report. Let's have a look.
Today's witness, Ingrid Gurge, who was one of the pioneer staff at Mihin Lanka Private Limited, said when personnel were recruited to the budget airline, most of those appointed to the managerial positions were those who had retired from Sri Lankan Airlines and were above the retirement age. Since incorporation, the ground handling of Mihin Lanka Private Limited was completely handled by Sri Lankan Airlines. On the 31st of December 2007, Sri Lankan Airlines has ceased to operate and handle the ground handling operations of Mihin Lanka Private Limited. However, an issue arose with the Bangkok flight scheduled for the next day, which is the 1st of January 2008. Since there was no ground handling staff at the premises, the captain of the plane had said that he can take the passengers to their destination if the plane can be moved to taxi on the runway. According to the witness, for the first time in her 37 years experience, she witnessed a plane physically being pushed by ground handling staff towards the runway so that the plane can reach its destination. In March 2008, plane steps, trolleys, tractors and baggage high loaders believed to be manufactured in Germany, were brought down for Mihin's ground handling operations. However, these were all second-hand equipment, and one catering truck was also not put into use as well.
The government promised that they will end corruption and stop thievery. It has been a while since the government came into power. Have they been able to control corruption, let alone stop corruption in our country? I'll let you be the judge of that. Mahina, it's over to you. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Chaturanga. In more local news, an event was organized to provide title deeds and housing loans to residents of the Badovita and Atediya areas in Ratmalana today. The event was presided over by Minister of Housing and Construction, Sajid Premadasa.
The event was held at the Kamkaru Sevana Reception Hall located at the Maliban Junction in Ratmalana. 10 freehold title deeds, 10 ownership licenses and 94 lease agreements were awarded. Further, 90 beneficiaries were awarded Samata Sevana and Sonduru Sevana housing loans. 227 other individuals suffering from sight deficiencies were also awarded spectacles worth 161,600 rupees. Politics is suffering. You have to learn to suffer. If you come into politics well fed and nourished, you have to go home thin. Then you know you did not profit, but you used your powers to make sure others are fed. We do not need luxurious lifestyles. Therefore, my time will not be determined by astrologers. I saw even today on newspaper that I am waiting for my time to come. Don't believe those fabricated stories. Sajid Premadasa is not afraid of any responsibility nor challenge. This event was organized by Colombo District Parliamentarian Hirunika Premachandra, and she commented on people connected to her father's death.
Any person who is accused has a right to appeal. I have immense respect for the judicial system, and I do not think there will be any change to the current situation. I was the first woman who came forward seeking justice, and I was the first woman who has served justice through this Yahapalne government. Therefore, if this decision is overturned now, the trust the general public has on this government will be tarnished. I strongly believe that women who have lost their fathers and husbands in similar circumstances should also be granted justice. A key promise made by the President and the Prime Minister in the lead-up to the election was to punish those who have committed wrong, and there clearly has been a wrong committed here. I saw on the news that the Attorney General's Department has presented facts as well. In a case like this, when an appeal is made, the judges pay attention to the facts, such as those as well. The Court of Appeal today issued an interim injunction preventing the future proceedings of the case filed before the Colombo High Court against 8 people, including former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption had filed a case against suspects over incurring a loss of 11.4 billion rupees to the government by granting permission for the Avant-Garde Maritime Services Limited to operate a floating armoury. A former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa had filed a petition before the Court of Appeal requesting that he be acquitted and released from the above charges. Accordingly, the interim injunction will be in effect until the hearing of the petition concludes at the Court of Appeal. The petition was taken up today before a bench consisting of Justices Achala Vengapulli and Arjun Obesekara. The Court of Appeal issued the interim injunction after concluding that there is a legal defect on the surface of it as a result of rejecting the issuance of notices on the respondents named in the revision application filed by Gotabaya Rajapaksa before the High Court. The Court of Appeal further ordered the Attorney General to file objections in this regard on the 26th of this month. Meanwhile, Justice Janak D. Silva removed himself from hearing the petition on the 1st of June due to personal reasons.
Hello there, I'm joining you once again to bring you the developments in the sporting arena in terms of Sri Lanka cricket and the Sri Lanka cricket election. 2 developments today from this particular department. You might agree with me if I tell you cricket has gone to a level where if we see the cricket team, the Sri Lankan cricket team, we question ourselves, what has happened to our team? Why are they at this level? Are we to blame the team? Are we to blame the management, Sri Lanka Cricket, the administration, or are we to blame the Minister of Sports for this situation that our team is in? I'll try and make this answer easy for you to come to. Sri Lanka goes before the court of Sri Lanka Cricket goes before the Court of Appeal and says, look, we are ready with the roadmap to hold the Sri Lanka cricket elections. The court says, if you're ready, get together with the ministry and hold the elections and move forward with it. And if you have any objections, put it in writing and come before the court, and on the 3rd of September, that's the next hearing date, and present it before court. Now, that is the development in terms of Sri Lanka cricket going before the Court of Appeal. Let's keep that in our minds and come back to the Minister of Sports. You might recall that very senior cricketers in the caliber of Mahela Jayawardena, Kumar Sangakkara, Muthaiya Muralidharan, Arabinda de Silva, all of these people refused the invitation put forward by the Minister of Sports to work as consultants to Sri Lanka cricket. Today, several other senior cricketers, former senior cricketers, went before the minister at the Ministry of Provincial Councils to meet with him and discuss matters. They said, Minister, look, there is corruption at the Sri Lanka cricket and we want there to be an interim committee to look into these things. The seniors included Arjuna Ranatunga, Jayanta Dharmadasa, Siddharth Vettamuni and Ana Punchi Heva. Now, they have gone there and highlighted the importance of an interim committee. Now, going back to these two incidents where certain group of cricketers said, look, we do not want to waste our time here because there needs to be restructuring and things need to happen in that way. And going back to these senior cricketers saying there needs to be an interim committee. The minister is the common denominator here. He does not seem to have understood the situation. When key people are saying, look, minister, we need change. If things continue in this manner, Sri Lanka cricket will not develop. The minister meets with other senior, you are witnessing the visuals, the minister meets with other senior veteran cricketers to discuss more things. Now, let's pause for a moment there and look at the track record of the minister himself. The minister is the Minister of Sports, Faisal Mustafa, and Provincial Councils and Local Government, who delayed the local government elections for a long extended period of time when civil society, politicians, everyone was calling for the elections to be held. He's the person who increased the number of councillors from 4,000 to 8,000, making the people of this country, you and I once again, to bear the costs that are involved, to provide them facilities, etc., etc. Now, this is the minister that we are talking about. Who are these people who went there to meet him? Arjuna Ranatunga, Jayanta Dharmadasa, Siddharth Vettamuni, Ana Punchi Heva and others. All these are senior people, yes, but these people at times point fingers at each other for the mistakes at Sri Lanka cricket. They have issues among themselves. They seem to somehow have got together at this instance to go and meet the minister and talk to him about the importance of an interim committee. Someone might question, why do these people flock once again when they have issues on the common platform? Why are they going before the minister? I want to draw your attention to a statement made by Kumar Sangakkara when things were mentioned, when he was invited, when he declined the offer made by the minister. He said if there are political, if they are being called for political gains, if their time is wasted for political gains, they do not want to be a part of this committee. Is that what is happening? Are all of these people, including the minister, getting together to have a committee of the interim committee and talking about corruption, so on and so forth, to have with ulterior motives in their mind? Do they have another objective? Now, that has to be decided by you thinking of all of this. Now, we have mentioned on several occasions, cricket in this country does not belong to one family. Cricket in this country does not belong to two families. It does not belong to the Ranatunga family. It does not belong to the Dharmadas family. It does not belong to any other family. It belongs to the people of this country. It belongs to you and I. It belongs to Sri Lanka. That's why it's called Sri Lanka cricket. So if you, these people who are involved, the names that we mentioned, are trying to in any way have ulterior motives, have undue advantages through Sri Lanka cricket and the actions that you are committing, you are ruining the name of our country, ruining Sri Lanka cricket, and one day you will be the joke and the people will laugh at you like this.
We conclude tonight's bulletin on that note. I'm Mahina Bongzo. Good night.